What's up, ladies and gents? This is Zach Drake, and welcome to episode 2 of the 5-part Q&A series, where you get to know me better and my philosophy on soccer based off of all of your questions. I have my cup of tea and my list of questions. Let's get started. Episode 1 covered youth soccer, and now we're going in chronological order to episode 2, which is going to cover teen or academy level soccer. This will be anything from U13 up until U17. This is a good time to remind you to write any questions you have for the next Q&A that's going to be on college or university level soccer. So any questions you have about that, write it in the comment section below. And make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified of the next question round to see if your question has been answered. And before we start the questions, I want to give a quick shout out to Northern Football Apparel. Thank you for sending me this hat. It's cool. Check them out if you're Canadian supporting Canadian soccer. I'll grab some of their gear. They have t-shirts, hats, and they're growing as a company. So quick thanks to them, and let's get into the questions. Question 1. What was your high school team like? Let me clarify a bit. I know this question was asked by an American, and it turns out that American versus Canadian soccer, growing up in your teen years, it's a little bit different because in Canada, high school soccer isn't really that important. It's not a very serious thing. Whereas academy or club soccer, that's kind of where it's more important. I did play high school soccer and I was MVP of my team for a couple of years, but it was a small school. We didn't have a whole lot of soccer players at our school, but we had enough to have a team that was somewhat competitive against the other schools in the area. Question 2, did you play other sports? Hockey? So as a Canadian, I'm sorry to say I did not play a whole lot of hockey growing up. Unfortunately, my skates were too big and I always had a stick that was the other way, super uncomfortable. But having said that, I do find a lot of value in being multi-sport athletes. I just didn't have any focus other than soccer. So year-round, during the summer and fall, I would be playing outdoors, and during winter, I would play indoor soccer. I do really enjoy playing table tennis, so if you ever want to challenge me, bring your A game. Prepare to lose. Next question. What were your favorite cleats then? Now, I already said as a young player, I liked the Adidas Predators, but then as I grew up, I started making a switch over to Nike. I was a fan of the whole Total 90 series. I picked up a pair of Supremacies that I really liked. As soon as the Total 90 lasers came out, I got my first pair of brand new cleats that were actually expensive, and they were new, gorgeous, white K leather, that's kangaroo leather, and I even got my name and number customized into them. It was a real investment into my soccer career at that time. They're still wearable, but nowadays I just keep them in my little trophy case with all of my medals. Question 4, why are you always jersey number 2? Does it have any sentimental value? So ever since I could remember, my jersey number has been 2. It's always been my favorite number, so I guess that's why, and it might even have something to do with my birthday being on the 2nd. Throughout my career, I've had some different numbers depending on what team I'm on, if 2 is available or not. But nowadays, I really like the number 2, and I'm even willing to negotiate with my teammates who already have that number to see if I can get it from them. The coincidental serendipity of it all is that even though I was number 2 playing in the center midfield, throughout my career, I ended up playing right back, which, as you might know, as a soccer formation, jersey number 2 usually plays in the right back position. Funny enough, that's my position today. Question 5. What has been your proudest moment on the field? So it might not be just one opportunity on the field, but in my teen academy years, I'm really proud of my opportunity to play in Brazil when I was 15, 16 years old. When I was 15, a Brazilian coach came from Sao Paulo to train a soccer team in Canada. And I was selected with a group of players to go back to Brazil for a tryout with a professional team on the youth side. So at age 15, I went to Brazil and I performed during this tryout period. And lo and behold, I was chosen with a few select players to return to Brazil the next year to play for the academy. It was an amazing experience to be able to go to Brazil without parents, living with a group of soccer players who were all like-minded and wanted to develop and grow and become professional soccer players. And that's something I'm really proud of. Question 6. Did you play for a travel team? As I mentioned in my last video, I played club soccer throughout my youth career, and I did that as well going through my teen years up until I went to Brazil. So it wasn't necessarily a travel team. There were tournaments that we played outside of our city, but the league itself was in our city. Next question. What tips do you have to develop as a team? How can you level up if you're not playing on a team? Individual training is really important, but you need to find a team and get into a game environment, a team setting where you have a coach that can help you develop as a player within the position that you want to play. It's going to be really hard to level up and get at a higher level, say semi-professional, if you haven't even played at the amateur level. It's always about taking little baby steps to the next highest level and not just leaps and bounds to professional. So I think one of the first things is to notice that your teen years is the first point where players are going to start falling off and not taking things as seriously and even quit playing the game altogether. Just stick with it and keep training, because there could be players that are better than you, but they might be dying out. And who's going to be there to take their place? You are. Other than that, it's another good time to start planning your training sessions individually and start setting some goals for yourself. Your team sessions are going to be really important for you to develop tactically and have a game awareness, but your individual sessions are where you're really going to develop those skills that propel you to the next highest level above the other players. Next question: when should I start lifting weights? To simplify and overgeneralize this for all teenage soccer players, it's important to develop strength in soccer, of course, but don't let that deter you from developing your skills on the pitch. If you go to the gym and you work out so hard that you need to rest for 3 days after, that's 3 days that you could be spending developing your craft on the pitch with the ball. So when you're first getting into lifting weights, start easy, maybe start with body weight exercises, introduce yourself to more complex movements slowly, making sure you have technique over loading up with a bunch of weight. I myself started around age 15 with lifting weights. Before that, I was doing more body weight exercises, squats, push-ups, lunges, sit-ups, that type of stuff. Nowadays, things are a little bit different, but the same general rule applies. Don't load up with weight until you have good technique. Question 9. How is it living in Brazil with no parents? What did you do in your off time? I think another reason why being in Brazil was such a proud moment was because it helped me grow into a little bit more of an adult. When I didn't have parents there, I had to make decisions on what I needed to do that would be helpful for myself. But I was 16 years old, so we didn't always do the responsible thing. We played a lot of video games and also went to shopping malls and movie theaters and met girls, all that fun stuff. I think it's worth noting that I went to Brazil when I was 16, so that was me taking off the first part of grade 11. So I tried doing courses by correspondence, that was through books or online learning, and it actually was really difficult for me at the time, so I ended up putting that off until my next year of school. What I did do well was learn Portuguese. Question 10, the big question. Did you actually play against Neymar? The answer? Maybe. Sorry to disappoint, but I can't be 100% sure. Here's the situation. On my very first trip to Brazil, I played against the U16 Santos team. And this was exactly the same age range where Neymar was still on the youth squad. He was playing up on that U16 team. The next year or two after, that's when he really propelled into the senior team lineup, and from there, the rest is history. So unfortunately, I can't say for sure if I played against Neymar, but I like to joke around and say, yeah, I played against him. Next question, why did you come back to Canada from Brazil? Unfortunately, like many other soccer players, I didn't end up getting that professional contract at the end of it. So I had to make a decision that was right for me at the time. Did I want to stay out playing abroad, trying to go pro with not a lot of money? Or did I want to come back home, finish up high school, and potentially go play for college or another opportunity that would come? So I made my choice to go back home, finish up high school. I also decided to play for Ottawa Fury in the Super Y League, which was a USL league for youth in America. My team coming from Ottawa, we would travel then to places like Boston, New York, in the Northeast, and hopefully become recruited by colleges or universities based on your performance there. As I'll explain more in episode 3, I did end up going to a college in the US, and it was partially due to my U17 breakout year, becoming MVP on the team. I think it was highest goal scoring or assist, and I was actually rated as the top 2% players in the league and offered an invitation to the ODP, which was the Olympic Development Program in the US. But as a Canadian soccer player, I don't know exactly what happened there. I didn't end up going. So that's a good little segue out of this video and into episode 3, all about college and university level soccer. So make sure, if I didn't answer any of your questions based on teen or academy soccer, write them in the comment section below and I'll answer them all. If you have any questions for the next video, make sure you write those as well. Lastly, I just want to thank you for watching this video. Make sure you check out the other videos that I have here. And as always, I hope you have a great day. See you. Let's get this done in 10 minutes. Ready, set, go. What's up, ladies and gents? This is Zach Drake and welcome to part 2. No. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Now I already said that's when he really propelled into the propelled in the